Couldn't wait to get out. Like on Thanksgiving, I'd always make a trip with it. Back then, the men were tougher than the boats.
On this episode, we're going to be catching up with the current users of Oregon Inlet, take a tour of Ben Brown, and catch up with the watermen of Wanchese.
Why is the Oregon Inlet important?
It's the lifeline of all fishermen here. If you're going in the ocean fishing, that's the only in and out. Unless you're going to Hatteras, and then Hatteras Inlet's just as bad too.
If you took Oregon Inlet away completely, just say you pump the sand on it and you could drive a car across it, this place would be in bad shape. Why would the tourists come here? Why would people want to come here? They want seafood. They want this local seafood. It has to come through, a big portion of it has to come through Oregon Inlet.
And part of the problem is we can get through, charter boats can get through, but we're watching the shifting conditions all the time. Big trawl boats can't get in here, so boats that live and work here have got to go down to Beaufort or up to Hampton to get out in the ocean and come back around.
That inlet's a livelihood for, shoot, half this island. Running boats, building boats, working at a fish house, delivering fish up the road, making nets, selling fishing supplies. It's the heart of this operation around here, you know, and if the heart can't pump and the blood can't flow, the body doesn't work very well.
The charter side, people jump on here and they go fishing, have a great day, they see beautiful weather and they're like, man, we'd love to have your job. I wish they knew about the breakdowns, the hours, the money it costs to keep the boat up, the work we put into it in the wintertime.
There's more danger in the cold weather, like if it's ice, the boat's icing up some and slipping down, falling overboard.
And I'm gonna have a group with the same 10 questions or more, but I gotta be nice. Because just because you've gone 38 or 40 days in a row doesn't mean this isn't their only day they're going for the year.
I can vividly remember, put the knife in your hand, stick it in a bucket of water, cloth gloves. Now your hand is frozen to the knife. And you could gut. You could go for an hour till it thawed out. You know, like, this is silly, you know. But I see the net coming up right now in my eye, I close my eyes, and before you could let it down, it froze. It was that cold.
Everyone has an Oregon Inlet story. What's yours?
Had them come over to the top of the cabin, been behind a boat that had their windows blowed out, been turned around sideways, had water come on deck, dipped the riggers before. I mean, I think everybody's had stories. No one's went through there without some kind of bruises.
Sometimes you get to a point where you're too close, you gotta go, or you just kinda gotta get back and reset. We ended up going and it looked good, and we got to the last one we thought, and we went down, and here come a set of two of them, and one was starting to break, and we had to go down to the left and get over the braking section, and when we did, we had to veer back right, and one took us. And when it did, having a bow with a raft on the front, you've got to submerge this raft all the way for it to go off. And when we shoved under it, we went under enough and come through that we looked, and the rope was going alongside the boat, and the raft inflated itself right off the side of the cockpit.
When you're working in and out of this inlet, when does the fear start?
That morning, going out the channel or coming in, because you know what you're dealing with. You get the report from the seas and all that. And if it's marginal, you're scared before you ever even get there. You're nervous. You're thinking, if you drink coffee, it's twice as bad because you're like, you know, what's it going to be like or whatever. And then you get down there and sometimes you slide on out, sometimes you turn around and come home.
We learned about shad boats and we looked at pictures, and I thought it was really neat history behind the shad boats and that it was the state symbol. They call them the pickup trucks of the Albemarle Sound, but they're the pickup trucks of really all sounds surrounding Roanoke Island. They had a lot of history to do with Buffalo City, carrying stuff to Elizabeth City and bringing stuff to Roanoke Island, and so they were pickup trucks before pickup trucks were a thing.
How many 19-year-olds in Roanoke have a boat like this?
Probably none. Well,
Do they have that fear?
Yeah, yes sir. Yeah. Me, like my mom and my sister, and really all of my family, my grandparents and all, we all worried about him and, you know, him making it home safely, and eventually, you know, I got to start working on there with him. It's nerve-wracking, you know. It's, you get on there and your heart starts beating. You watch the bottom machine, you watch it crawl right up, and he'll reach up there and slam it back, you know, slow it down, make sure that there's going to be clearance between the bottom of the boat and the shoals there, because as tight as the inlet is, the water runs through here real strong. So if he gets hung up, a lot of times this boat will roll down, or, you know, it'll make some kind of dangerous move, and it's nothing that you can't control it once it's there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, once you get through the gauntlet, then you can kind of take a deep breath, and it's all good from there.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Today, I couldn't make it at all on a boat fishing. If I was a younger man, I couldn't. I don't want nobody looking over my shoulder. And that's what happens. You got a younger generation that has kind of come up in that. They can adapt to it better than us old fellas can.
We tried to take that shortcut one day with that observer on the boat, and we got caught, and a big wave came, and I mean, it washed. It was bad. We had a lot of water in the boat, washed the bats around. We barely got out the inlet, and I never said anything to the observer. He kind of looked at us like he thought that was a common thing, which it wasn't. But I mean, I don't know if that guy ever came back. I mean, he was pretty much done. But yeah, it's stuff like that that just, you know, you shouldn't have to deal with to go to work.
People need to start working together. Whether or not you fish out of the sound, you fish out of the inlet, whether or not you are a recreational user of the inlet, where you just want to go out into the ocean, whether or not whoever, if you use the water and you use the inlet, we should be teaming up together in order to like come up with some kind of a solution, whether it takes the government's help or not. Power by numbers. If enough people from the community raise up, something could be done, because I've seen it happen.
It's hard to put in words, but this place is special, and that inlet's special, and it needs to stay open.
I just wish somebody would help and, you know, see the community struggling, all the boats that aren't here anymore, and the revenue.
What advice would you give young fishermen that may not have the experience you have?
Well, they got to think about it. They want to be a family man when they get older. It's hard to be a great family man and be a hardcore commercial fisherman.
You got to challenge the science. If you're fishing and you think something that they're saying is wrong, establish credibility and challenge it. Don't just go up there and say, that can't be right. I see plenty of them. Prove to them that you see plenty of them. Prove to them that your effort guarantees or suggests that they're missing something in their calculations.
Who is this man over here? This man over here could be the very best at what he's doing. And you've never done it. Be careful. Because you might come along and not fare too well.
Of course, it's hard for me to cope with it, because when I come along, we have some freedom. We don't have no freedom anymore. We're being dictated to. This country was not based on dictatorship, but it is now.
We learned that the Oregon Inlet affects more than just the fishing industry. It affects the tourism industry and the families of the fishermen who use this inlet. We also learned that it takes true grit to work on the water, and that the watermen of Wanchese are pleading for deep water access with a jettied inlet and a safe way to get to the Atlantic Ocean.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Sea and Sound Tackle, located next to the Duck Through in Wanchese, North Carolina.
Happy Thanksgiving! Merry Christmas!